little rod on the center, in the center of this,
rod,
to kind of be the pusher to get the stuff down in the mold. But it took a lot of pumps because it's only doing a little bit at a time. So this is where I'm kind of said, let's back this train up and go clear back to the beginning.
Can you do a lot of pumps without putting pressure on until you fill it and then put pressure on?
Yes, yes, because you can feel the pressure.
So you can go back and forth until you
Yeah.
sort of fill it and then lean on it.
Right. The way this one actually worked was on this thing here, and it was very easy to.
Oh, you made it? This looks custom made just for this.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you tell me.
He builds a new one. Okay, I need a different thing. Oh, he had presses all over this place at one time.
There's two more you didn't see because I took it apart and kept.
How many presses did you have in here at one time? About 8?
Too many. Way too many. And
Maybe his wife knows.
the other problem is when you do something like this, you need a yoke. The steam engine thing, you can't because you don't have a constant radius, so you need a yoke. Well, to try to get rid of pieces, which you want to minimize, get rid of the yoke. I made this flexible so that the whole thing will move.
So it rocks back and forth.
Rocks back and forth. Except you got to put the plunger in the right way. That always helps.
Details.
Hold that right there, see?
Uh-oh. Design error. Takes 2 people to
It
assemble
takes 2 people to assemble. But this thing will rock back and forth and I don't need a yoke. Well, I like this. This worked well. But, and then, you know, I could reach down here and fill this by hand.
Yeah, so that mechanism, it's the feeding is the issue.
The whole thing come down to feeding, Ron. And I'll jump, where Zan and I started was this. And I'm not so sure.
Sure you're not going back to that?
Yeah, sure, we're going back there. Was just a mold.
That worked on the existing
And
press.
use the existing press. Like this. Put the gunk in there and press down. We knew ahead of time, but
and then break them up.
And just break these up. Yeah, I knew ahead of time that if you make square sides, it's going to be a problem getting out. But I wanted to make it just to try it anyway. So initially these were parallel, and these are the ones that come out of the parallel version, and they come out pretty hard. You're sitting here and you're just really forcing this stuff out.
Yeah.
And it's just, I thought I was going to break it all apart.
So you got a taper there now.
So you taper it, and you get these here, but the problem is, and it's not a big problem, is this is all full, so as you're pushing down, you're squeezing out the sides like that.
Yeah.
And so I wiggle this back, on this one I got good, and I wiggled this back and forth, and I pushed down both sides. There's a lot of fooling around. More fooling around than I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Can I suggest an alteration?
Anything you want.
Go ahead and make these parallel, these blocks parallel, but taper the back side and put a tapered piece beside it so that both of these blocks come out with it,
Could, yeah.
and that way you'd have a straight press.
Straight briquette when you got
Yeah.
done. Could.
But what if you had a...
Also wanted to tip one back and just release the pressure
That
by
would be, yeah.
tipping one back.
Yeah, that would work.
Or, I mean, or, let's see. Or you could tip the bottom out, or I guess the other thing I was thinking is like, say this piece were a little bit wider, like, you know, came out this way a little more,
Right.
and say through here you actually had an open channel. So press against the solid, slide
Right.
that,
Right.
and then, so it's very similar to what you do with your donuts. Then you use the press to.
Right. We do the same thing we did here, which is...
That's another press.
Just coming out
It's
from behind
like
the
the press museum here.
the same thing. The the stuff goes in here, you make the briquette, and you do all the pressing, you've got a briquette.
Yeah.
Now to get it out, you pull the base out, and there it is.
Yeah.
And shove the base down.
Yeah.
Get rid of the bottom one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question. There's lots of things you could do here. I just wanted to do one to see what the briquette looked like when we got done.
Oh, this is easy, just floating off ideas. I mean,
It is.
you've reduced it to practice.
Well, it has to, because
Well, one of the reasons I kind of like this idea is because some of the rocket stoves and things like sticks. stuck
Oh, yeah.
in, and you wind up feeding a rocket stove this way or the TLUD
yeah.
this way.
Yeah, good
And
point.
so that's the reason I kind of like being able to make
you
it.
know, and there's
along.
nothing wrong with going down this road 100% and just the self-feeding is not because
Well,
of
it's
the
just
damming problem. You know, it dams up at the
A
end.
matter of chopping these up.
Oh,
How,
you could
how
just
easy? Yeah,
So-
how easy is it to get that to break where you want it to
I
break?
try it. I just made those last night. So.
Easy.
Not hard
Yeah,
at all.
I mean, so
Yeah.
I figured someone would just
Yeah,
sit there
yeah.
and bust them up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because that broke right where
And-
I wanted it to.
And there's a chance they're going to need the standard traditional briquette anyway, in some other application. So needing a press is probably pretty good probability. You're going to need a press for something.
Now you did this one on that press or?
Yeah, I just made it last night. We can make one here if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking like how Zan is. Maybe you're right, because for a rocket stove, that's. I mean,
Firewood.
if anything, you'd even want it maybe another 10 centimeters or so. But and the fact that you can make so many of these, and like the effort to take one of these and break it apart is much less
So, yeah.
than making
Yeah.
and making a whole bunch of individual ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal to make one. Yeah, I was this piece needs to be taller, and I didn't find the piece that did it, so I just, if you fool around, you can get it all.
You go getting the water out, didn't you? Runs all over the place.
Yeah, well, there's still, I need a lot more drainage, because whenever you see water coming up on top of the briquette, that means the mold is very much
Actually,
not
It'd
draining.
be nice to go with parallel walls instead of the table. Comes out underneath there or something.
Yeah, but I've got water up on top, which you don't want. If you wait long enough, which you shouldn't have to do in a pressing operation, and this is you'll need a holder or something to get this to pull out, and then your screen breaks.
Oh, okay, yes,
So it's enough to hold it together to make a, you have to be able to drop these things, and you can drop these, so I think that's probably good enough. So it very much might be, Dan. Go right back to where we started from, and which is okay. I mean, you need to go try some of this intellectual
And you
stuff.
got washers under it here rather than.
I needed just some way to get the water out the bottom.
We had originally talking about putting slits on the
Right.
top of that board. Yeah.
I stayed away from slits right now because if you take dry wood and you put a slit in there and you get it wet, it fills up with fibers as the fibers of the wood come out, and then all this stuff gets caught in there. So that's why the screen, but
That's why you suck it in bear grease.
yeah, true. Very, very good point. Good point.
Have you given
I
any
figured
thought
these
about?
blocks you probably dunked in motor oil for
Yeah.
half a day and